Welcome back to Taiwan Talks. I'm your host, Alex Lee. In our interview series, we have been focusing on introducing Taiwan business leaders and their great company to the rest of the world. Today, I would love to change the gear a little bit to explore the secret source behind all the great company and technology at their R&D front. In my opinion, no one better than Eric can share with all the great story. Our guest today, Dr. Eric Chuang. He is the General Director of a Biochemical Technology and Device Laboratory at ITRI. As you know, ITRI is a very well known, at a global basis, the superpower behind all the great technology development here in Taiwan. And more specifically, we need Eric to help us to explore and explain how Taiwan can leverage its ICT and the biochemical strengths to promote and develop the new chapter such as the smart healthcare and the precision health to the rest of the world. Welcome, Eric. You already earned the global reputation in this very specific biotechnology space, at both academically and policy making as well as industrial wise, even before you took over the great job. What made you take over the job? And can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. Thank you, Alex. It's my honor to be here to share with you. I'm Eric Chuang. I finished my undergrad in Taiwan, of course, many years ago. I'm a pretty old man. And, after that, I moved to US, finished my master's degree in Chicago. And then after that, I pursuing my doctoral programs at Harvard. So I finished my doctoral degree back in 1997 with cancer biology as my major. After that, I spent 1 year at Harvard as a postdoc before joining NIH. So I moved down to South in Maryland, joining NIH as a research postdoc fellows, and for a couple of years, and then become as a laboratory head at NCI, National Cancer Institute, working on microarray technology. At that time, genomic technology just booming. So using gene chips to do genetic analysis, it's become a very emergent area. So I'm one of the pioneers joining NIH to develop microarray technology for all kinds of biomedical research. After several years working at the NIH, I actually came back to Taiwan, joined National Taiwan University as a faculty member. So in fact, my primary appointment at NTU is a professor at Department of Electrical Engineering, which is quite unique because I'm the first biomedical background professor joining EE department. So I'm the very first one in Taiwan, I've been doing a lot of interdisciplinary research, how to use the ICT technology for biomedical research. And then last April, I joined ITRI, which is the largest research organization in Taiwan, serving as the general director. My department we call Biomedical Technology and Device Research Labs at ITRI, which I'm the head of the biomedical research within the entire ITRI. Ever since that, I overseeing all the R&D within my department, as well as try to help using ITRI as a platform, or try to build a platform to help the biotech technology in Taiwan. So that's kind of a brief introduction of myself.
Great. You almost answer majority of my kind of question as well as a lot of audience, because I bet that you can consider yourself as a pioneer
Yes.
by combining the ICT, which is a hardware technology, and then
Yes.
most of them was biochemical, right? Even at the global space, that's a pretty pioneer then.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, for the most of the kind of audience benefit, for sure, ITRI is a very well-known super technology power.
Yes.
But in the past many decades, for its support and the spin off the great technology like TSMC and
Yes.
many others.
Yes.
Right? We don't need to spend too much time for that. What makes you consider that biochemical leverage the strengths of ICT can really make your effort more close to the endpoint? Again, when I say the endpoint, I believe one of the topics we've been talking about is how to develop Taiwan's its own smart healthcare and a precision health, right? Can you just a little bit? What is a major kind of a catalyst you believe we can make it happen?
Well, as we all know, TSMC, Alex just mentioned, now Taiwan has been recognized as a superpower in terms of ICT technology, ranging from semiconductor, manufacturing to all kinds of sensing computers, So Taiwan has a very strong ICT industry. On the other hand, Taiwan has very good healthcare system. Our hospital ranking, our healthcare ranking, actually, is among the maybe top 5 in the world. So we have 2 different areas. They all, are very sort of top-notch on the global scale. Unfortunately, over the past maybe, several decades, there's not much of interaction or integration in between those 2 areas. So, of course, with those digital technology keep evolving and developing. So how can we use those digital technology to improve healthcare system? So now more and more physician, hospital executive try to use those digital technology to make their hospital smarter and then to provide a better care. And then, of course, all the citizens can receive a much better, or to reaching a much better health for themselves. So I think that's the kind of the motivation or the sort of the driving force for putting both sides together and try to make a better life for all mankind.
Yeah, that sounds an easy match, right? But I know for sure it's not going to be easy because we're talking about 2 very different kind of world, 2 different kind of a DNA in the first place. Well, before we cut into a little bit detail, let's start from a very beginning, right?
Yes.
Can you give us some simple, maybe the live example, when we talk about like a smart healthcare and the precision health? Could you give us a live example what precisely we're talking about here?
Okay. Before I get to that point, actually, you just mentioned the right. For ICT and then healthcare, it's very different people in terms of their training, their mindset, even the culture. So there's a huge gap. How to bring both sides together, and also it's a big challenges for both sides to work together. So that's why it takes time, to make sure everybody start building common language. That's how you can collaborate together. And then for giving a good example, of course, I'm now the head of the biomedical research within ITRI. I have to use ITRI example to tell you. For example, we have a collaboration with one of the big ICT company in Taiwan we call Kenpao.
Kenpao, yeah.
Yeah, Kempe probably is the top 5.
One of the largest notebook
Yes.
producer,
Producer
in the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
So we have a project, we collaborate with them. We develop a technology we call intelligence radio frequency ablations. So we all know, cancer death is number one cause of death, in Taiwan, I think over the past 2 decades. So there are many different modalities for treating cancer patients. Of course, surgery is one of them, chemo, radiotherapy, or even nowadays, the immunotherapy. So how to use this radio frequency to ablate tumor itself, so become an emerging area. So my department developed a new technology we call intelligent radio frequency ablation. So by combining imaging as well as the RFA, so the acronym for radio frequency ablations. So of course, radio frequency ablation is already exists for many years. However, when surgeons start doing some treatment, they don't know exactly where the tumor located and what's the volume and how to precisely, try to reduce those tumor cells. So by combining with the imaging technology, so we can provide a much better, much precise to, reduce the tumor itself. So even we can tell you what's the radio frequency power you should use and what's the contouring of the tumor. So you can remove specifically of the tumor itself with the limited damage to the normal tissues. So this is a good example showing how can biomedical or cancer treatment can collaborate with the traditional ICE company. And this technology already received US FDA and Taiwan FDA clearance. They even have the reimbursement from the National Taiwan Insurance Program. So now they are already start treating patients in the hospital. And because they have very successful treatment outcome for several patients, now Kempow actually established a training center specifically for this intelligent, we call IRFA, Intelligent Radio Frequency Ablation Training Center at the most prestigious medical center in Taiwan, which is my university, National Taiwan University Hospital. So they established a training center specifically for this new technology.
Great. From a technology or technology transfer wise, it sounds like a great example, right?
Yes.
But again, something just to keep reminding me that when we talk about a great company being given the birth from ITRI, the company like TSMC, and of course many others, right? The technology cell, again, you forgive me if my kind of a description is not in the precision, but kind of give the technology cell give the birth here itself in the institute,
yes,
and get transferred through the right commercial trajectory, become like a commercial purpose, and raise capital afterward, and become a great company. Of course, TSMC is always the great example. But in this very specific case, or may not be this specific case, can you explain that from a lab to the sort of kind of R&D trial level? And I believe one of the mission is try to commercialize them, right? Can you explain a little bit detailed trajectory, right? How you kind of really promote it to the next level?
Well, let me give you a little bit, I have a dual role. I'm a university professor, but now I'm serving as the general director, the head of the biomedical research at ITRI. ITRI actually has a quite different position from university. As a professor, basically, I'm just doing basic research. So in terms of technology readiness level, usually it's 1 to 10. So professor doing their research, they publish paper, some professor maybe apply for patents. So usually that's a technology readiness TRL 1 to 3. So at ITRI, we don't do basic research. We do translational research. So we are focusing on the technology readiness level ranging from 3 to 8. So we try to, sort of translate the basic idea into products. However, ITRI doesn't do large-scale manufacturing. We do kind of a small-scale manufacturing for testing, make sure the product itself is really work. So that's how we kind of position ourselves at ITRI. So when we develop something, we have two sort of exit plan. One is tech transfer, like the one I just mentioned, compound with this intelligent radiofrequency ablation technology. We develop the technology, we tech transfer, we licensing to compound. So they put everything together as a product, as a service for the hospital. On the other way, you just mentioned TSMC actually was a spun-off company from ITRI many, more than 3 decades ago. So the other exit plan oftentimes is have a new startup company. So some of the technology we develop, we will maybe have a spin-off startup company to carry the technology further development.
You own the equity?
We own the equities, but kind of we are part of the shareholder.
Sure.
And then some of our staff will move to the new company, become their CEO, CTO, and then try to make the technology actually they develop with in-house to become a real product or real service, and then to compete in the real world markets.
Sure. From that kind of particular model, you are not just a technology research, but you're also running your business.
Yes.
As an investor, you invest in your kind of resource developed technology, and transfer through the technology transfer, you can enjoy the economy, no matter in the equity method or collecting royalty, I bet.
Yes, that's how we did. I mean, can be cash, can be equity, can be whatever, loyalty, just you mentioned.
Sure.
Once they commercialize, they start putting the products on the market, every single unit they sell, we receive some royalty from them. But it depends on, terms and conditions when we do either startup or tech transfer.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's very unique in the world.
Yes.
It's a very
Yes.
specific kind of Taiwan business model.
Yes.
Right. But I couldn't help but also thinking about a couple sort of challenging for that business model, because take a TSMC again, for example, that was early 80s, right? Taiwan short of a capital, short of a resources and the technology.
Yes.
But 30, 40 years away, Taiwan, no matter ICT particularly, but also maybe to a certain degree healthcare sector, because of the support from a capital market, they've been quite strong by themselves. They never short of a cash.
Yes.
They never short of a capital. As a matter
Yes.
of fact, a lot of it like a listing healthcare related company, they're full of a cash,
Yes.
right? I don't know whether that will transfer your business model, because they also own technology. They also got enough resource to develop their own technology. Do you have any kind of a new idea or new business model to adopt the slightly kind of different kind of business environment?
Well, I think over the past 10 years, I think government actually putting a lot of resources, even some funding to support biotech startups. Okay, unfortunately, that's the resources coming from the government is still very limited, and then I see, the biotech industry or biomedical, environments, they are facing several challenges. Every time when I give a presentation, I always saying, well, they are facing actually big challenges, like you just mentioned earlier, funding.
Yeah.
How to bridging the capital markets, it's very difficult. So oftentimes, because I'm a university professor, I actually, when I talk to some of my colleagues, they always ask me, Eric, where can I find money? Where are my investors? And then of course on the other side, a lot of this venture capitals or investment office, they always ask me, Professor Chuang, can you recommend some good teams or some good project we can invest in? So apparently, again, that's a huge gap between, this technology developed team with the capital market. So that's why over the past 12 months, we're actually putting a lot of effort trying to establish a new platform. Yeah. We call, interdisciplinary innovation platforms. So we not only, bringing startup company, healthcare sectors, those clinical institutions, as well as, domestic or global company, either big pharma or medtech company to join this platform. So we realize that people are looking for fundings. So we also bring capital market to join us. For example, like Alex, your firm, QIC, or CDIB, Taiwaneers, or EY, PwC. So we try to build a more comprehensive ecosystem. So everybody can use this platform to not only, exchange ideas, or maybe you can mingle together, so try to build up some relationship, so you can look for a good team, or you can look for a good investors. Yeah. So that's how actually over the past 12 months, we're putting a great effort into this new platform we just established.
Yeah, I'm very happy being part of the effort. I bet that this is the answer for all of the questions I have previously. Obviously, Taiwan, no matter ICT or biochemical industry, sounds resourceful, but we still have a lot of mismatching opportunity.
Yes.
For the both technology and the funding part, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about this platform, right?
Yes.
What again? You probably explained that what you would try to achieve. Can you give us again, just like we've been joking, you sign a lot of agreement, alliance, ribbon cutters.
Yes.
That make you really, really different from the rest of the ITRI effort before.
Yes.
Right. Can you give us a little bit kind of a example? Because maybe the good example could be, one of them could be, you just brought roughly about 2-3 dozen startup company to San Diego.
Yes.
A couple of weeks back. Yeah. Can you give us a little bit of that kind of idea why you want to do that, and anything you think that either there's a platform or the community need to get further support?
Yeah, I think even though Taiwan has almost 24 million in terms of population,
yeah,
but still in terms of the market size, it's still very small.
Sure.
So that's why you just mentioned, actually several weeks ago, we brought lots of the startup company went to US Bio in San Diego. We joined this probably the largest bio exhibition in the world. Basically we try to accomplish two things. One is allow those startup company to explore their eyes, so they know what other people is doing. They can, visit different booths and then try to communicate. The other thing is we try to bring new technology into the global spotlight. Because in Taiwan, it's, even though we are quite internationalized, for ICT or semiconductor, but for biotech, it's still not that well known. So through this kind of exhibition, the show, so we try to catch more attention in the global scale. So in addition to US Bio, we actually last November we actually again bring over 30 different startup company to Medica, the largest medtech show in Germany. So we're going to doing the same thing this coming November. So again, try to serve this two different purpose I just mentioned earlier.
Sure. I believe because since you took over the job, actually, so you make everybody busy. But your friends,
Yes.
which is a part of the small contributor.
Yes.
But you have a chance. Number one, you have something you would love to share with all of the startup company here in Taiwan.
Yes.
Let's do it step by step, right? The first one, to all of the startup company.
Yes.
Right? Do you have any takeaway you want to share or any lesson you believe they need to learn? Because you've been very busy, try to make a matching and introduce them to the rest of the world through all kind of event.
Yes.
If you have anything you want to share with those founder, something they can change their mind or something they can do something better before next kind of event.
Well, I think, because we were, like you mentioned, we were in San Diego. I actually, maybe two those competitions, during that period of time. So what I learned from the potential problem from those startup companies is they have to think bigger globally. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes our startup companies, they are only focusing on Taiwan markets. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can use Taiwan market as a sort of testing site, but you should think bigger, maybe facing on the U.S. market or European markets, rather than just focusing on the small one. The other one is when you go to those global exhibition show, you have to change your mindset, because I know a lot of sub companies that actually coming from the university professor I just mentioned earlier, even myself as a university professor. But you have to change your mindset. Try to be more business oriented.
Sure.
During that kind of events, you should be more focusing on talking about your business, your market size, and then rather than talking, great research I've been doing with this specific technology. Because, during that kind of events, a lot of investors, private sectors, they don't care about your research. All they care is what kind of good products.
Yeah.
How can they do a game changer? So if they have to, and then of course the other issue is language.
Of course.
You need to have a good English communication staff. Or we don't expect everyone can, because we all, even myself, I was born in Taiwan. Even I spent almost over 2 decades in the U.S. I'm receiving my master and then doctoral degrees in U.S. Still, Mandarin is my native language. Sure. English is my second language. So you just have to make sure yourself is very fluent, and then you have to change your mindset, maybe how Western people are thinking about different things.
Sure.
So that's, if you can do that, then I think, your opportunities, or when you are communicating with the different people globally, that will make yourself more suitable.
Sure.
Rather than, basic Taiwanese mindset.
Sure.
So I have to change the mindset.
I bet that if I can summarize that, it's more like communicate in a business sense,
Yes,
and both in the business language as well as like a speaking language.
speaking language.
Right, and
Yes,
I bet that all the founder and the CEO, they need to speak up themselves,
yes,
right?
exactly.
If you flip the question to the other round, that because of course you have met a lot of a great pharma company and the VC
Yes,
over the world, particularly
Yes.
in the US,
Yes.
right? Again, this is a great opportunity if you can share your view and introduce a Taiwan startup in the biochemical sector. How would you describe? There's a young and energetic forces. Of course, they'll improve their business plan. They will improve the language skill. But again, what would you suggest to the global pharma and the VC? What are the potential might be from Taiwan, and what Taiwan company or technology can bring to the world? What would you say?
Well, I think, a few things. I always say Taiwan, like I just mentioned earlier, Taiwan has a very strong healthcare systems. We have very good ICT industry. In addition to that, we have a very good talents
Yeah.
in Taiwan, especially for biomedical area. We have a very good physicians. We have very good biomedical researchers, and then they are all highly educated. Most of our talents, they have at least master's degree. We have even more, PhD. I have to say that within my department, even though, I have roughly about nearly 500 people, my staff, ranging all kinds of expertise.
Sure.
From real biology, life science, pharmacology, chemistry, electrical engineering, chemical engineering, all kinds of different expertise. See, my department, 26% of my staff holding a doctorate degrees.
Sure.
And more than half of my staff having a master's degree. Yeah. So you can see how good you probably can't find any other places as such a good talent.
Yeah.
So again, that can be kind of extended to entire Taiwan. And then of course, a lot of Taiwanese are receiving Western education, like myself. I finished my undergrad in Taiwan.
Sure.
But I went to US to get my master and doctoral degrees. And so, we all been educated in the Western world. So, and we are easy to communicate. Even, there's some language barrier, but still.
Good enough.
Yeah, I think that's good enough compared to, maybe other areas or other countries.
Yeah.
Even that's totally different world. So that's why I would encourage, Western country, big pharma, big med tech company, or big venture capital. I think Taiwan is an ideal place for you to explore.
Yeah,
sure. I'm not expecting you gonna establish, the real connection right away, but giving some time. Yeah. I'm sure you will know how good is Taiwan in the global position.
Sure. I believe that it was your such a strong commitment, right? Yes. Because this is a platform thing. It's pretty much the aim to create an ecosystem.
Yes.
By combining the people with the technology, with the funding, no matter domestic and a global basis. This is one step ahead. I'm pretty confident that it will be happening. But again, nevertheless, if I can shift to when we talk about smart healthcare, right? What make things smart? Not necessarily from the hardware itself. This is something where Taiwan really good about it, right? We always got a smart related to software, or there's a trendy word AI related.
Yes.
Right? Would you consider that this is something that in Taiwan in general, not only in the biochemical industry, we are the producer of a lot of AI devices in the hardware front, right? But short of talent, or experiences by deploying the application or software part of AI world, right? Do you have any your particular observation or anything you think that Taiwan need to change? And from ITRI perspective, that what have you proposed and then what think we can be doing better?
I think, you just mentioned we have very strong hardware industry for those ICT. They're making, like I mentioned earlier, computers, PC, smartphones, everything. In order to provide a smarter health care, I think that, and then you also mentioned AI.
Sure.
Being a professor, when I giving a lectures, I always say, if you want to tell me AI, the presumption is you must have a big data.
Yeah.
You need to have a big data in order to use AI, to process, to analyze, and then try to build something. So, make it smarter. Data-driven is the key. Okay? I just mentioned in the beginning with our conversations, all the hospitals try to make themselves smarter. The first thing they want to do is integrate all different kinds of informations. So information integration is the most important thing. Having data, process, analyze it, and then maybe you can build some new algorithm or even new prediction models. So, for example, we talk about precision medicine, precision, health. For precision medicine, we call next generation sequencing or third generation sequencing. Try to analyze your genetic composition. By knowing that, we will be able to tailor a specific, treatments or specific, diet or something like that to keep you healthy or to, make sure your disease can be well under control. So sequencing, knowing all your genetic composition, so that is the big data. So by analyzing, because even though we are all human, or even we are all Taiwanese, but we do have different genetic compositions, So by having different genetic composition, you are more susceptible to certain disease, or you are more resistant. So we have to analyze it and realize what kind of person you are.
Sure.
Okay, so we can give you, that's why we say personalized medicines or precision medicine, because each individual person, we will give you a tailored therapeutic, methodology or methods.
Sure.
So that's the way, if we want to combine AI, then data is the key, is the king. So fortunately, Taiwan, like I mentioned earlier, we have almost 3 decades of national insurance, health insurance program. So we are a single payer system. So we are collecting over 23 million people their, electronic health records. So these is going to be a huge treasure for everybody to play with. Okay, so that will help the whole, I think, the future application using big data and AI, even now generative AI, large language model, that can also help, the hospitals to make their work more efficiently.
Sure.
And then to provide a better care for their patients.
Great. It sounds promising, and I'm more convinced in the confidence.
Yes.
Based on your explanation that Taiwan can also develop into a data-driven, the AI application-driven type of a market without subject to constraint of the market itself.
Yes.
Right. My last question is more at a personal level.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Again, you're being treated as a role model and respectful kind of a leader by a lot of the younger generation,
Yes.
right? For the benefit of a lot of the young student, think about when you are younger, like many, many years ago.
Yes.
What would you recommend to them, right? That if you consider like moving into biochemical technology as a long-term career plan, right? Any greater recommendation you will give it to them?
Well, that depends on your personality. My personality is I always love challenges. So when I was much younger, when I finished my undergrad, one of my professors was telling me, "Hey, Eric, you should stay in Taiwan to pursue your master, even your PhD." But at that time, I already I already make up my mind. I told myself I have to go abroad to explore different education system, different life experience. That's why I actually, just kind of turned down my professor offer, say you can stay in Taiwan, and then I will guarantee you probably going to get into one of the, prestigious master program. But I say thank you. I'm just going to go to the United States, which I did. That was back in 1989. I left the country, went to U.S., and then I spent, 2 years for my master's degree, and then I pursued my doctoral degrees at Harvard, and I spent 6 years to finish my degrees. And after that, I moved down to NIH, as I just mentioned earlier.
Sure.
So I'm kind of keep changing different, career paths or different jobs. And then, when I joined NIH, I spent a few years there. I'm kind of become boring with job I did. And then at that time, there's a very famous professor. One time I came back to Taiwan to give presentation at different places. I had a chance to visit a physician professor, and then he was the NTU president, a few years ago. So he asked Eric, "Are you considering coming back to Taiwan, being a professor?" I thought, well, that sounds like an interesting job. I never been a professor, so maybe I should try that. And I say, okay, maybe I give it a try. So I decided to come back to Taiwan, join National Taiwan University as a professor. And then in the meantime, they told me, Eric, with your training, because I have my doctoral degree in cancer biology, I supposed to go to College of Medicine. But they say, Eric, we are promoting interdisciplinary education. Would you consider go to Department of Electrical Engineering, which is the best engineering program in Taiwan. Yeah. Only top-notch high school students can go there. I say, well, that's interesting. That's quite challenging. Okay, I will go, which I did back almost 20 years ago, and which I did quite well. Of course, I have to adjust myself.
Of course, done a great job.
Being a cancer biologist, teaching engineering background students, you can just teach them, this is cancer oncogene, that's a tumor suppressor gene. That's, for them, that's way too much. And because my background, I'm doing, genomic technology. So I switching gear by having genomic technology and then now I'm well known as a bioinformatician. So processing genomic data, big data, AI, this kind of thing. So, be open mind. Don't afraid of challenges. You will make your life quite different. And then over the past 6 years, during my, tenure at the university, so I serve as a chairman, I serve as, university research center directors. So after stepping down those both positions, I always joking, I start like, kind of running around within other places. So I was in ITRI for 2.5 years, serving as a deputy general director. And after that, I moved to China Medical University, serving as a College of Biomedical Engineering Dean for 2 years. And then I rejoined ITRI last year. So I'm doing all kinds of different things, which for my own personality, I feel that's very enjoyable. Sure. And I love to have challenges. I don't want to do something it's daily routine. That it's not my style. Yeah. So basically, for our young generation, I really encourage you to do something different and also try to make yourself interdisciplinary. Even though you are in the life science, you are in the biomedical area, try to learn something, information technology. That's a good way to bridging. Make sure you self is kind of with the different expertise. Not only will make you more marketable if you are looking for jobs. So, also will give you a much more or much bigger world in your future career path.
Yeah.
That's my advice for the young generation.
That's great. I think this is precisely the quality of people we are looking for from a younger generation, right? And this is also the great place to end our conversation.
Yes.
Thank you for joining our show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.